I am very excited for today's exit sign video because it's one of the few times I get to show off some new exit signs, like brand new exit signs, like newly released exit signs. These are so new, in fact, that I haven't seen any of them installed in buildings yet, and I also don't know any other collector out there to own them, so I'm likely the first. Which would also mean this is probably one of the first YouTube videos showing these exit signs off, so really exciting stuff. But before we get started, there's a few things I would like to say. Number one, this is not a sponsored video. I know it kind of seems like it, but it's not. No one is paying me to talk about these exit signs. No one gave me these signs for free to review. I'm doing this all by myself, and I used my own personal money to buy these units, so be aware of that. Number two, this video I feel like is going to be dated very quickly, just because everything I'm talking about is pretty much relevant to the time I'm making the video. So just so you are aware, I am recording the video in October of 2025, and these exit signs pretty much just released a few months ago. I think it was July of 2025. Around that time, so it's very recent. So just in case you are watching this video a few years in the future and you're like, well, these exit signs have been around for a while, the reason is because I am making the video when they were released. Lastly, I have a bad feeling that this video is going to be very long, longer than usual at least, because there's so much I want to talk about, so much I want to discuss, so brace yourself for that. But with all of that said, welcome to Exit and Emergency 27, where we will be talking about some new exit sign products from Lithonia Lighting, a very popular and well-known manufacturer of exit signs, emergency lights, as well as general lighting products. They've been around for a long time. They have made some great products over the years too, but recently not so much. Within the last few years, Lithonia has kind of been nosediving in quality. Mainly they have been rebranding generic products, which just means they take a cheap mass-produced product from overseas, put their sticker on it, and sell it. A lot of other companies do this too, so Lithonia is not unique. They pretty much sell the same stuff everyone else does, but they do have some their own custom in-house produced products, though those particular ones have kind of also been lacking in quality recently too. So it's really unfortunate, but they just released some new signs under their Quantum name, and I'm excited because these things are excellent. They are fantastic quality, just like I remembered Lithonia from years ago, and they hold up well. So let's talk about it. The first exit sign here is the LQM. This is actually the third generation of LQM. And by the way, before we get super deep into this video, I'm also going to be throwing in some history behind some of these products because most of them are like the new generation of some old stuff. So let's talk about that actually, since we're on the subject. So this is the LQM, as I mentioned. It's the third generation, so it's the third version of the LQM exit sign. So about the LQM, it can be traced back to 1997, when Lithonia released their second generation of Quantums. And in that generation, the initial products looked like this. This is kind of the predecessor to the LQM. This is the QM. It's an incandescent exit sign, and it was available in AC only, which is this model, as well as being available in battery backup, which those were kind of larger because it had to have a big 6-volt battery. So these were around for a few years, and then they discontinued those and made a new, improved model, which would be known as the LQM. It had LED exit letters. It was also available in AC only and battery backup. And this is a battery backup model. It's a lot smaller than the traditional battery backup style exit signs because it has LEDs and a smaller battery. So really cool. And these were around until 2003 when Lithonia discontinued the second generation of Quantums and introduced the new third generation. And they also introduced a new LQM, which is this sign. This would be the LQM second generation. It does look a lot different. You can see it has a much more rounded appearance. It's a lot thinner, kind of just looks more modern and updated. And this one actually was around for a long time. Again, originally introduced in 2003. That's about as old as I am. It lasted the entirety of the third generation Quantum run, and then those were discontinued in 2013 with the new fourth generation of Quantums, but they did not discontinue this exit sign until recently. These have now been discontinued, and the new fifth generation Quantums are here, and this is the newest and latest version of the LQM, making it the 3rd generation. So just so we are all on the same page, we have the original LQM, the 1st generation, and then they updated it to the LQM, which would be the 2nd generation, and now we have the most recent edition, which would be the 3rd generation. I really hope all of that makes sense. It's kind of complicated with generations and different versions of Lithonia Quantum stuff. But now, let's talk about the new sign. So these things are really nice. It does look a lot like the previous generation, like if you glance at this one and look at that one, they do look similar, but there are some differences, and Lithonia actually has greatly improved these because the old LQMs really needed it. These things were not the best. The new one here, again, it has the same general resemblance as the old one, like I mentioned, but the housing's actually thicker than the old one, which is a bit of a surprise, and it doesn't really curve as much. You can see it's thin down here, but it kind of protrudes outward. The new ones, they don't really do that, at least not as much. I'm sorry, it's difficult for me to kind of show this exit sign in detail when it's installed. I believe the font is the same, and like I said, the overall faceplate is very similar to the old LQM. Something else with the older LQMs is these things were notorious for being cheap. Whoops. Anyway. So the old LQMs were notorious for being very cheap. Like the housing, I mean, I could just snap this in half if I wanted to. It's just very cheap feeling, but the new LQMs, they have improved the actual plastic housing. Now, yes, it does flex a bit, but not as much as the old one, so these feel a lot more durable. Another problem with the old cheap housing is light bleed, and that is the phenomenon when the internal LEDs that are supposed to light up the exit letters end up lighting up the entire face, because the faceplate, the housing, it's so thin, and it doesn't really bury or kind of, I don't know, keep the light in. I'll give you an example here of what I'm saying. So oftentimes the entire faceplate would be red if it was a red exit sign, or green if it was a green exit sign. And at best, this is just an annoyance, but at worst, it makes the exit sign hard to read. If the entire face is red and you have red exit letters you are trying to read, it's about impossible under certain circumstances. But with the new model here, you can see that's no longer the case. Because they have improved the housing, that means no more light bleed, and we can clearly see the exit letters. I don't think they have diminished the brightness of the LEDs on the inside, because this looks as bright as the old ones, so it tells me that they have just improved the housing. Let's talk about another improvement, and that is the test button and status indicator light. On the old models, they were located on the left. Here's an LQM 2nd generation with battery backup and self-diagnostics. But used to, we had a separate status light and test button. Now they are all in one. And also, I never really liked these older test buttons. They were kind of hard to see, sometimes hard to press down. But the new ones, you can clearly see where it is because it's lit up. And it's like a large orb now, so super easy to press down to test the exit sign, which is good. Let's move on to features of the new LQM, and kind of staying on the same topic as the test button and status light, these exit signs now come with simple self-diagnostics by default. It's standard. And all simple self-diagnostics is, it's really basic. The status light can turn either green or red. If it's green, that means the battery is plugged in and it is at a charged state. But if it turns red, that means the battery is either unplugged or it's at a very dead state that it needs to be replaced. This has been like a very common feature with most new exit signs from other manufacturers out there. A lot of generic companies are doing it too. So it's cool that Lithonia is now adopting this feature as well, because it's nice. It's not really like the sophisticated self-diagnostics that we know about, but it's just a basic form of diagnostics that just tells you a little bit about the battery. Another new feature is the ability to select the color of the exit letters, either red or green. Used to, with exit signs, you had to specify when you were buying them which color you would want. If you wanted a red exit sign, you had to get the red model, or if you wanted a green, you had to order the green model. But now, with these new LQMs, you get to choose what color it is when you install it. They give you both red diffusers and green diffusers that you can snap into the faceplate, which is what I've done with this one. And on the inside of the exit sign, there is a switch that toggles between red LEDs and green LEDs. So again, it's all up to you to decide what color you want the exit sign, which is great. That means you only have to buy one model, and it could be both. This is a really common feature nowadays with most exit signs from other manufacturers. I think Lights was one of the first to introduce it, but I know of a lot of generic companies out there that do it as well. But nice that Lithonia now does it too. There's another new feature with these exit signs that's actually an industry first. Lithonia has invented it. No other company right now makes an exit sign that has this feature, and that is the ability to select if the exit sign is AC only or battery backup. This is crazy, right? Super interesting, because how it's been forever with every exit sign company out there is they would make two models. The first is the AC only model, which would be used in buildings with backup generators or some sort of backup power. And then they offer the battery backup models, which is used in the opposite scenario if your building does not have a backup generator or does not have any sort of backup power. And it was up to you to buy the correct version. But like I was saying earlier, with the ability to select either red or green exit letters, this exit sign is literally universal now. So you just buy one model and you can pick if it runs in AC only or has the ability of backup with a backup battery. Really cool, and it pretty much is super simple. It's just like the color selection. On the inside of the exit sign, there is a switch to toggle between AC only mode or battery backup mode. I'm going to be honest, I hate this feature. Well, hate's a strong word, and let me rephrase. I like the idea of this feature. I like the concept of being able to select what operation the exit sign does. I just don't like how Lithonia has done it. I don't like how they've designed it with this exit sign, but I will explain that later when we take a peek on the inside. And you might be wondering, well, why couldn't you just buy a battery backup exit sign and not plug the battery in if you need it for an AC only installation? Well, you're right, you could do that. But the reason no one ever did that, and the reason all of these exit sign companies never offered it that way, is because generally speaking, battery backup models are much more expensive compared to AC only models. Like using these old LQMs as an example, this is the AC only model. These sold for $50 brand new. Here's the battery backup model. Well, technically self-diagnostics, but pretend that's not there. Just pretend that this is the battery backup standard model. These would sell for $65 brand new, so that's a $15 difference. So if you had a building with a backup generator, why would you spend $15 extra for exit signs when you don't even need the backup battery? So that's why companies made AC only models, because it was less expensive. But don't ask me how Lithonia's done it with these new exit signs here. They are priced the same amount as their AC only model, and that's $50. These exit signs retail for around $50 brand new. So it's kind of a no-brainer now. Why not buy an exit sign that you can do either? I don't know how they've done that, because these exit signs have a backup battery. It has circuitry to charge the battery, transfer when it goes into a power outage. I don't know how they've done it, but somehow they have, and these go for $50. So it's pretty much, like I said, 2-in-1, a completely universal sign. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about options with the new third generation LQMs. The first is housing color. Of course, you can get it in an all-white housing like you are looking at now, but you can also get a black housing as well as the new brushed aluminum housing. Well, it's not really brushed aluminum, it's all plastic, but it's supposed to resemble a brushed aluminum exit sign. Kind of interesting that Lithonia has introduced this feature for their standard Quantum lineup. Typically, the brushed aluminum appearance is reserved for more expensive metal exit signs, but now it's available on these regular plastic ones, so really neat. I do have a prediction with these. Either these new LQM brushed aluminum style signs will be much more popular than Lithonia's traditional brushed aluminum, and maybe those traditional brushed aluminum metal signs will be discontinued, or, and probably more likely, the other way around. No one will really buy these new brushed aluminum style LQMs. They'll just keep buying the traditional metal ones, and Lithonia will quietly discontinue this finish. But I think it's cool. I'm definitely excited to see it, if I'll ever see it, but I like it a lot. All right, let's open up the LQM now. Something else I meant to add on earlier, they've changed the snaps of the faceplate. It's now these two tiny ones that are annoying because you have to use a tiny flathead screwdriver. A lot of generic companies do this, and I don't like how Lithonia's done it, because used to it was these larger snaps like that one. I prefer these a lot more, but I guess it's okay, whatever. On the step stool now, so we can get a close-up look on the inside. Here is the main label right there. Then we have this other label, and you can see there's a QR code. Something Lithonia has done now, and it's not just with their exit signs, it's pretty much every product they make now. They no longer include paper instructions. It's now a QR code that you have to scan that pulls up an online instruction manual. I don't really like that. I mean, I'm Gen Z. I know how to use a phone and use the QR code scanner thing, but it's kind of annoying because it means you have to have an internet access. Like you could be in a place that has no reception and you can never pull it up. Plus, I've just always liked having a physical manual in my hand. Call me traditional, I guess. But there's a lot of companies that are doing this now, not even exit sign related. And even restaurants are doing it with their menus, which is really stupid. But whatever, that's a tangent for another day. This is a exit sign video. Here is the main circuit board and LED board. There's that switch I was telling you about that selects the color of the LEDs. You probably can see it. Sorry, I'm shaking. I'll flip that over, turns to green. Flip it back, goes to red. Here's the backup battery, which is now located at the bottom of the exit sign. The previous generation, it was up here. There's the power wiring connectors. And speaking of that, Lithonia has also done something different. Traditionally with exit signs that were universal voltage, 120 volts or 277 volts AC, you would have two different power wires, well, technically three. You'd have the white neutral wire, which you would always have to use. You would have a black wire, which is typically the 120 volt wire, and then you would either have an orange or red wire, which is for 277 volts. But now Lithonia's kind of cut that down a little bit. They give you just an orange wire and a white wire, and now the orange wire, as you can see there with that label on top, can be supplied with either 120 or 277. So that makes installation a little bit easier. Up here is the power supply, and also I will demonstrate the simple self-diagnostic feature. So you can see we have a green light, plugged in battery, but if I carefully unplug it without breaking anything, oh, there you go, it now goes red. It's a very dim red, but it does turn red. And of course, plugging it back in, we get a green light. It's now time for my rant about why I don't like the AC-only battery backup selection feature with these exit signs. Again, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of the feature, just not how Lithonia has designed it. So with these exit signs, the way you select from AC-only mode to battery backup mode is by this tiny little switch. It's the same type of switch like the color selection, but I don't like these because they're very small and easy to miss. It almost looks like a part of the circuit board. Yes, it is labeled, but not really in the best way. You could easily overlook this switch if you weren't trying to find it. And something else I don't like by default with these exit signs, when you get them from the factory, they are pre-selected to AC only mode, and the backup battery is already plugged in. With most traditional battery backup exit signs, you have to plug in the battery during installation. That's pretty much how it's always been. And for some installer that has put up countless amounts of exit signs, that's what they're used to. And when they're putting up this model, they will see, okay, the battery's already plugged in, I don't need to worry about anything, and then the sign won't work in a power outage. So also, you could argue, well, it's the installer's fault, they should have read the directions. Well, now Lithonia is making it harder because you have to scan this code, and I'll tell you this, physical instructions or not, a lot of installers don't read directions. I'm an electrician, I worked for an electrical company for 2 years, and the guys I worked around, they never read directions on stuff, especially for exit signs that, they've installed hundreds of them. So if I were a Lithonia, I would put a big sticker or label or something saying, if you want this exit sign to work in a power outage, you must flip this switch. So that's my first complaint. The second complaint, there's really no way to tell when the sign is in AC only mode or battery backup mode. So right now, I have it selected for battery backup mode. Everything's working. We have a green light saying the battery is plugged in. Press the test button. The exit sign stays on, right? Well, now I'll flip it to AC only mode. We still have a green light. We press the test button. Everything stays on, but let me turn off the power to that exit sign. Sneak peek on the emergency light. And it's off completely. And the battery's plugged in still. So I wish what they would have done is when the exit sign is in AC only mode, turn off that green light. There's no sense in having it on. Pretty much every AC only exit sign out there doesn't have a power indication light. So turn that off. Number 2, when you press the test button, turn off the exit sign so there's no question that this sign will not function in a power outage. There's really no sense in leaving it on when you press it, I guess. Now, you probably noticed when the sign is in battery backup mode and you press it, the green light turns off. Yeah, I guess that's really the only way you would know, but the common person out there wouldn't know that. Heck, I wouldn't even know that if I didn't know the ins and outs of this exit sign. Really, my fear is that no one will know about this selection switch here for the battery, and when these are installed in buildings and someone is coming around to check them, they will say, oh, okay, we have a green light. Oh, okay, we press the button, the sign stays on, we're good to go. And if for some reason they're on the inside of the sign, they will see the batteries plugged in and say, yep, this exit sign is good, when it's not. So really my complaint is I wish Lithonia would make it well known, make it visually apparent that this switch must be flipped for the battery to work. And when it is in AC only mode, make it where it's different. Turn off the green light, make the test button, turn off the sign. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about it. I don't know though, maybe I'm overreacting about it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, but I just think this will be a problem for installations. Phew. Okay, I have been talking about this exit sign for a long time now, and I'm kind of ready to move on. I'm sure you are too. But my overall thoughts with this new LQM, I like it a lot. It appears to be a very high quality exit sign. Lithonia has definitely made a lot of good improvements on this new generation. Again, as you know, my only complaint is the AC only battery backup selection feature. I just don't think it's going to work well with installers. I just think it'll be problematic, but I'm glad Lithonia is innovating. I'm glad they're pushing the boundaries of the exit sign industry and bringing new features to the table. I think I would install these in buildings. I like them enough to do that. They, again, seem to be very great, but I still would prefer a dual light EVE exit sign over this LQM. However, if for some reason I couldn't get an EVE exit sign to install, I would choose the LQM as an alternative. But enough about this exit sign. I've said all that I could say about it. Let's move on to the next unit, which is an exit sign emergency light combo, and one I was very excited for ever since it was first released. Here it is. This is the LHQM. This would actually be the 3rd generation of LHQM because there's been 2 previous combos from Lithonia to also use this name. Technically, there's 3 other versions, but I'll get into that later. This combo is awesome. Of course, it's also a part of the 5th generation of Quantums, and it's fantastic. The design is great. They nailed it. And the quality? Superb. It's a great combo, and it's something we have been asking from Lithonia for many years now. Their previous generation of combo was horrible. These exit signs are literally just a combination of the aforementioned LQM and also their ELM2L emergency light. That's also a part of the new 5th generation of Quantums. You can see there's the emergency light head, and the new LHQM also shares the same heads. These LHQMs also have the same features as the previous LQMs, like you can change the exit letters from red to green. It has the simple self-diagnostics, as well as the larger test button and status light. I'll go ahead and press the test button. It's very, very bright, as you can tell. And again, just like the LQM, you can choose from white finish, as you are looking at here. You can also get a black finish, and again, the super unique brushed aluminum style finish. I love that look on the brushed aluminum style combo. I don't think there's any other exit sign combo out there that is brushed aluminum. Okay, I lied. These things exist, but they're generic. I hate them. They're horrible. I think Astrolite makes some brushed aluminum style combos. Anyway, regardless, probably one of the first brushed aluminum combos that looks good, that has great quality, and from a mainstream manufacturer. So they're really cool. I think it's very unique for a combo to have this appearance. In terms of options with the LHQM, you can get these in high capacity, meaning you can power remote heads, or if you want the combo to last longer in a power outage. And as of me recording this video, these combos are not available in self-diagnostics. I'm sure in the next few months or year they will be, but right now they're not. There's another option that's kind of interesting. You can get Spanish text. You can get this combo in a Salida option, which is interesting. The LQMs weren't available in that, but regardless. Let's now talk about the history and evolution of the LHQM combo lineup, and I promise I will be brief. So going back to 1997 again, as you remember, that was the release of the second generation of Quantums, and in the second generation, they had the HQM combo, which is what you're looking at here. It was an incandescent exit sign with incandescent emergency light heads, and this would be around for a few years until they discontinued it and introduced the LHQM combo, which looked exactly like this one. The only difference is the exit sign part was LED instead of incandescent. And this would be around until 2003, when it would be discontinued, as well as the second generation of Quantums. But then the third generation of Quantums would come out, and also with that would come the LHQM, which would be the LHQM second generation, because again, this is the second exit sign to use the same LHQM model number. So this one looks completely different, as you can see. It's a whole different design. It's a lot thinner. It's a lot lighter. It uses different emergency light heads. It also has LED exit letters with incandescent emergency light heads. Well, technically these are krypton. But this was it, and this was around until 2013 when it was discontinued, as well as the third generation of Quantums. And after the third generation comes the fourth generation, and with the fourth generation we had the LHQM LED combo. This is literally just an all LED version of the previous LHQM. You can see this literally just looks like a mini version of the previous LHQM. These things were horrible though. They're essentially a generic combo. Lithonia pretty much altered a generic jimming combo. Let's do a quick comparison between the LHQM LED and a typical generic combo. So yeah, they do look different upon first inspection. Like this one uses the round ELM2 LED style heads, while the generic combo uses the typical square emergency light heads. And yeah, I know the plastic on this one is a lot more white compared to this one, which is more tan. But essentially, Lithonia took this design from jimming and had them alter it for their LHQM LED. Like, look at the actual exit sign part. Now look at the generic version. Literally the same, just very slightly changed. So all you need to know pretty much is this is literally a generic combo. All the components are generic. It's made by jimming. And also, speaking of that, these combos are horrible. They have a very high failure rate. I've even seen some of these brand new in the box that don't work. And I can't believe Lithonia had these in production for as long as they've been in production, since 2013, and it's 2025 now. Technically, Lithonia still makes these, but I'll talk about that later. Okay, I'm pausing this video for a moment because I'm editing the video and I completely forgot to mention this, but the reason the LHQM LED is still in production as of me making the video is because it is available in self-diagnostics while the new LHQM third generation is not. So they want to have some sort of combo that is available with self-diagnostics, and until the new LHQM has that, they are going to keep the old LHQM LED around. Now, in terms of the history lesson, because I don't want this to turn into an LHQM LED video, this really isn't a generation because it has the suffix LED on the model. Like, we had both of these combos, which are just LHQM, but this one is LHQM LED, so it's different. It doesn't really count. Now, in 2025, they've discontinued the fourth generation of Quantums and have the new fifth generation, as we've seen thus far. And now we have the LHQM, which would be the third generation. So just to recap, we had the HQM turned LHQM first generation, LHQM second generation, skip this one, and now we have LHQM third generation. Again, I really hope that makes sense. Opening up the faceplate now, this also has the small 2-snap thing like the LQM. We have 2 backup batteries. There's the wiring connections, which again, just like the LQM, it's only 2. There's the dumb QR code for the manual. We have the sticker here. There's the circuit board and LED board, which we have the switch right there to change the sign to green. It's really about it. I want to backtrack for a moment and talk about something we mentioned earlier with the new LHQM combo, and that is the housing color. Of course, we talked about black housing, but then we talked about the super cool brushed aluminum style finish. And again, when I first saw this was a thing, I was like, man, this is super cool. That's definitely a unique combo. I can't wait to see them in buildings. But I started to think about it and I'm like, man, will I ever see these in buildings? Because it's such an elegant finish, it's not really standard. I was worried that I would never come across one. Plus, what if Lithonia decides to discontinue this finish? So I decided to buy another LHQM with the brushed aluminum appearance. This combo is pretty much the same exact thing as this LHQM. The only difference is the housing color. It has a silver faceplate with a black housing, and man, this thing looks good. I'll be honest, I was worried when I first saw that the LQM and LHQM were available in the brushed aluminum finish that it would look cheap, because it's a plastic exit sign that's pretending to be a metal exit sign. Now, this doesn't look like a metal exit sign at all, but it kind of takes the brushed aluminum appearance and makes it its own. I think it certainly looks good. It's definitely something different and looks stylish to me. It has all of the same features and everything else like we've talked about with the previous LHQM. Again, it's just the color that's different. And I decided to select green lettering for this combo just because we have a lot of red going on, and I thought green would look cool with the housing. Also, by the way, not really related to anything, but you can see I've temporarily installed this combo. I'm actually taking this particular spot out of retirement. If you've watched my exit sign videos for a long time, back in my exit sign setup series, you might remember I used to have a spot right here where I would install exit signs or emergency lights. So I've brought it back just for this video because I have nowhere else to put this combo. You can see I've temporarily run the wires to this LQM, and this sign isn't even screwed in. I just have command strips, but let me know in the comment section below, would you like to see this location reappear in future videos? I originally took it down because I thought it was too much stuff going on in one area, but I kind of like this here. But anyways, tell me what you think. Just for fun, I decided to change the colors on these exit signs so you could see what they looked like. So here's the LQM in green. Here's the LHQM also in green. And here's the brushed aluminum style LHQM in red. I think that one looks good. Really about it. Let's now move on to the next segment. It's time to see these exit signs in emergency mode. Here's the LQM. It pretty much looks the same, but for the LHQM combos, you can see they are very bright. And you can tell the exit lettering is still well lit, while the emergency light heads are brightly lighting up the space. Here's the other LHQM. I guess you would assume that it would be bright in here because I have two combos installed pretty much side by side. But either way though, these LHQMs are no joke. They are super bright. And I'll let you see my room here. It's very bright. I can see everything that's going on, not a problem. And that's what we want for emergency lighting. So it's really about it. That's all I wanted to show you with these units in emergency mode. Well, my friends, we've made it through the longest exit sign video I've ever made, and I'm so sorry for that, but there was just so much I wanted to talk about, so many details I had to cover, and, well, now we're done. That's everything I wanted to share about the new 5th generation of Lithonia Quantums. The LQM 3rd generation and LHQM 3rd generation, as well as the super cool brushed aluminum style exit sign and combo that they now make. Really cool stuff. But yeah, that's about it. I really do appreciate you watching till the end of this video. It means a lot. It means the world to me that there are people out there that like to watch my silly exit sign videos of all things. But that's about it. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about these new exit signs? And also, would you like to see this exit sign spot return for future videos? Let me know. That's all. Check out some of the other videos on my channel. I'm sure if you liked this one, you'll definitely like the others. That's it. I will see you later.